It is not because men's desires are strong that they act ill. It is because their consciences are weak. Let not anyone pacify his conscience by the delusion that he can do no harm if he takes no part and forms no opinion. Bad men need nothing more to compass their ends than that good men should look on and do nothing. A person may cause evil to others not only by his actions, but by his inaction. And in either case, he is justly accountable to them for the injury. I have learned to seek my happiness by limiting my desires, rather than in attempting to satisfy them. The man who has nothing which he is willing to fight for, nothing which he cares more about than he does about his personal safety, is a miserable creature who has no chance of being free, unless made and kept so by the exertion of better men than himself. It is better to be a human being dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. Better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a fool satisfied. And if the fool or the pig is of a different opinion, it is only because they only know their own side of the question. If all mankind minus one were of one opinion, and only one person were of the contrary opinion, mankind would be no more justified in silencing that one person than he, if he had the power, would be justified in silencing mankind. In this age, the mere example of nonconformity, the mere refusal to bend the knee to custom, is itself a service, precisely because the tyranny of opinion is such as to make eccentricity a reproach. It is desirable, in order to break through that tyranny, that people should be eccentric. Eccentricity has always abounded when and where strength of character has abounded, and the amount of eccentricity in a society has generally been proportional to the amount of genius, mental vigor, and moral courage which it contained. That so few now dare to be eccentric marks the chief danger of the time. The only freedom which deserves the name is that of pursuing our own good in our own way, so long as we do not attempt to deprive others of theirs or impede their efforts to obtain it. The peculiar evil of silencing the expression of an opinion is that it is robbing the human race, posterity as well as the existing generation, those who dissent from the opinion, still more than those who hold it. If the opinion is right, they are deprived of the opportunity of exchanging error for truth. If wrong, they lose what is almost as great a benefit, the clearer perception and livelier impression of truth, produced by its collision with error. Christian morality has all the characters of a reaction. It is, in great part, a protest against paganism. Its ideal is negative rather than positive, passive rather than action, innocence rather than nobleness, abstinence from evil rather than energetic pursuit of good. In its precepts, as has been well said, thou shalt not predominate unduly over thou shalt. Stupidity is much the same all the world over. A stupid person's notions and feelings may confidently be inferred from those which prevail in the circle by which the person is surrounded. Not so with those whose opinions and feelings are an emanation from their own nature and faculties. Every man who says frankly and fully what he thinks is so far doing a public service. We should be grateful to him for attacking most unsparingly our most cherished opinions. A state which dwarfs its men, in order that they may be more docile instruments in its hands, even for beneficial purposes, will find that with small men, no great thing can really be accomplished. Persons of genius, it is true, are and are always likely to be a small minority, but in order to have them, it is necessary to preserve the soil in which they grow. No one can be a great thinker who does not recognize that as a thinker, it is his first duty to follow his intellect to whatever conclusions it may lead. A party of order or stability, and a party of progress or reform are both necessary elements of a healthy state of political life. Truth gains more, even by the errors of one who with due study and preparation thinks for himself, than by the true opinions of those who only hold them, because they do not suffer themselves to think. So true is that unnatural generally means only uncustomary, and that everything which is usual appears natural. A general state education is a mere contrivance for molding people to be exactly like one another, and as the mold in which it casts them is that which pleases the dominant power in the government, whether this be a monarch, an aristocracy, or a majority of the existing generation. In proportion as it is efficient and successful, it establishes a despotism over the mind, leading by a natural tendency to one over the body. After the primary necessities of food and raiment, freedom is the first and strongest want of human nature. He who lets the world, or his own portion of it, choose his plan of life for him, has no need of any other faculty than the ape-like one of imitation. He who chooses his plan for himself employs all his faculties. If any opinion is compelled to silence, that opinion may, for aught we can certainly know, be true. While everyone well knows himself to be fallible, few think it necessary to take any precautions against their own fallibility. No great improvements in the lot of mankind are possible until a great change takes place in the fundamental constitution of their modes of thought. capacity for the nobler feelings is in most natures a very tender plant, easily killed, not only by hostile influences, but by mere want of sustenance. And in the majority of young persons, it speedily dies away if the occupations to which their position in life has devoted them, and the society into which it has thrown them, are not favorable to keeping that higher capacity in exercise. One person with a belief is equal to the force of 100,000 who have only interests. Since the state must necessarily provide subsistence for the criminal poor while undergoing punishment, not to do the same for the poor who have not offended is to give a premium on crime. In history, as in traveling, men usually see only what they already had in their own minds, and few learn much from history, who do not bring much with them to its study. Those only are happy who have their minds fixed on some object other than their own happiness.